You find higher love, and then everybody just slaps you down for it. I'll tell you what, there's a divine aspect about my relationship with Robin.
The air in the courthouse feels almost alive, thick with anticipation, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath, waiting for the storm to arrive. The wooden benches, worn and groaning under the restless weight of the crowd, tremble, slightly as people shift and fidget, eyes darting, hearts racing. There is a scent that hangs in the room, old paper, polished wood, and the faint bitter tang of coffee long gone cold. A smell that whispers secrets, the kind that have been hidden too long, ready to explode. At the front, beneath the harsh glare of fluorescent lights, Kody Brown sits rigid at the defendant's table. His golden curls fall into his eyes, unbrushed, almost rebellious against his own composure. His jaw is locked tight, hands drumming, a tense rhythm on the table, every beat louder than the last, echoing the approaching tempest of revelations. Across from him, Christine sits, regal yet steely, a calm facade concealing the fire within. Her eyes betray decades of betrayal and rage, a woman who has been silenced for too long, now standing on the precipice of truth. To her right, Janelle pushes up her glasses, her lips pressed tight, holding back thoughts too heavy to speak. Mary stares blankly ahead, her knuckles whitening around the edges of her chair, gripping it as if it could anchor her in this storm. And beyond Kody, Robin presses a tissue to her eyes, her body trembling, as if sensing the disaster about to unfold. The gavel slams, sharp and commanding, slicing through the murmurs like lightning. Silence falls. This court is now in session. The judge's presence alone seems to sharpen the tension. Christine's attorney rises, every movement deliberate, his voice calm but brimming with conviction. Your Honor, this is not about money or property. Today we bring proof of fraud, a betrayal so profound it has been hidden in plain sight. Mr. Brown presented loyalty and devotion to this family, yet behind that facade lies a truth concealed for years. A ripple of shock spreads through the courtroom. Christine lifts her chin, not in triumph, but in unwavering determination. Kody's face flushes red, anger mingled with panic. His lawyer leans close, whispering urgently, but the words seem to fall on deaf ears. The attorney steps forward, voice echoing against the walls. For years, my client sensed deception. Late-night absences, unexplained getaways, fragments of half-truths that never formed a whole. And now, at last, the truth emerges. A legal document, Your Honor. A marriage certificate. Hidden, concealed, unknown to his wives, unknown to his children, unknown to anyone. Gasps fill the air, the words heavy, almost unbearable. The judge scrutinizes the paper, slightly yellowed, bearing the county clerk's seal. Time seems to stop. Secrets of this magnitude never stay buried. They erupt, and the Brown family is about to feel the devastation of a single hidden truth. Kody's attorney leaps to defend, voice booming, desperate. Your Honor, this is a clerical error, a mistake. From years ago, there is no secret marriage, this document is irrelevant. But his words hang hollow in the room. Even the onlookers whisper, questioning, glancing between Kody and Christine. Christine remains composed, her eyes steady, yet her attorney gently prompts her. Mrs. Brown, can you explain what you suspected during those years? She inhales, carrying decades of doubt, hurt, and intuition. Something was always off. He would vanish on weekends without explanation. He came home distracted, distant. When I finally confronted him, he looked me in the eye and said, "Don't ask questions. You aren't ready for..." Her voice cuts through the room like steel. Robin lowers her head, silent, unable to face the unfolding chaos. Janelle's lips quiver as if she might speak, but she remains frozen. Mary's stillness is deafening, louder than any outburst. The judge reviews the document, brow furrowed, before finally declaring, "This license appears legitimate, dated, signed, sealed. Unless evidence proves otherwise, it stands." The gavel strikes once more, sending whispers, gasps, and murmurs cascading through the courtroom. Robin grips Kody's arm, her breath shallow. Kody shakes his head, a mix of fury and despair, painted across his features. Christine sits stiffly, hands clasped, eyes unwavering, harboring the quiet triumph of someone who has finally drawn the hidden truth into daylight. Kody's lawyer scrambles, arguing this is fabricated, but the judge remains firm. Christine's attorney leans closer to her, voice low, deliberate. "Your Honor, the truth doesn't end here. We have a witness, present the day this document was filed, ready to testify to its authenticity." The courtroom stills, tension thickening. Kody's gaze darts, trying to anticipate the next strike. His wives silent, hearts racing. For the first time, Christine allows a faint, knowing smile to touch her lips, not of joy, but because she knows the storm has only just begun. One secret has surfaced, but how many more remain hidden, waiting?
I had a long discussion about us having a relationship, not filtered through my view of her mother or her mother's view of me.
Kody shifts uneasily in his seat, fingers tapping the table in a staccato rhythm, until a sudden bang of his hand silences the room and earns a stern glance from the judge. Robin leans in, whispering urgently, but he turns away, eyes blazing, with defiance, unwilling to show fear. The judge clears her throat, voice cutting through the tension. Silence. This court will not be interrupted. We will proceed with testimony. Christine's attorney rises once more, walking with deliberate pace toward the center of the room. Your Honor, the report speaks for itself, but evidence alone is never enough. We must examine the actions, the choices, and the secrets that led us here today. He fixes Christine with a steady gaze. Mrs. Brown, tell the court when you first realized your husband was hiding something. Christine inhales sharply, eyes locked on Kody. Her voice is steady, though thick with years of suppressed emotion. It was years ago. We were all still together, but weekends would come when Kody would vanish, claiming business trips or church matters. Yet something didn't add up. He was evasive, nervous, and one evening when I pressed him, he looked me in the eyes and said, "Stop digging. You won't like what you'll discover." The courtroom holds its breath. Robin presses her tissue tighter, tears streaming freely. Mary's lips tremble as if she wants to speak, but remains silent, letting the weight of Kody's warnings echo through the room. Kody's lawyer jumps to object, voice sharp. "Objection! Hearsay!" She's twisting his words. The judge furrows her brow, noting the objection, but allows the statement to stand. Kody groans loudly, rubbing his face while his attorney mutters, "Calm down. Don't give them what they want." Christine's attorney remains unshaken. "My client is not alone in her suspicions," he continues, voice firm. "Others have witnessed inconsistencies, things that never added up. Today you will hear from them, but first we request that this license be entered as evidence. It is dated, signed, and bears the official seal of the state." The paper is handed to the judge in a protective sleeve, and the room freezes, eyes drawn to the creased document as if it were a loaded gun. Each wife's reaction is a study in tension. Janelle sits rigid, complexion pale. Christine's breathing quickens. Robin snuffles helplessly. Mary clutches the bench, knuckles white. Kody can no longer contain himself. "This is absurd. There was no other woman, no secret wedding. You're ruining this family with lies." Christine looks at him like he's a stranger, her calm in stark contrast to his fury. Her attorney simply states, "Let the record reflect Mr. Brown denies the charge." Denial in this room only sharpens the truth. The judge leans forward, warning Kody to maintain order. Christine's attorney turns to the jury, voice deliberate. Imagine a man professing devotion to his family while secretly signing a marriage certificate with another woman. This is not bureaucracy. It is betrayal, a wound festering in secret for far too long. My client has a right to the truth. Her children deserve the truth. This court will uncover it. A hush falls over the room. The judge finally accepts the license into evidence and calls the first witness. Kody's posture stiffens. Robin whispers reassurances, but her hands betray her fear. The bailiff announces a name. Wooden doors creak open and the first witness steps into the aisle, every eye following their movement. Christine straightens, anticipation shining in her gaze. The witness swears in, placing a hand on the Bible. "Please state your name." "Janelle Brown," comes the calm yet weighty reply. Gasps ripple through the room. Kody's jaw drops. Robin shakes her head frantically. Christine exhales softly, a breath of relief threading through her tension. Christine's attorney approaches Janelle, voice gentle yet firm. "Mrs. Brown, you lived in the household at the time this license was filed. What did you witness?" Janelle's eyes flick between Kody, Christine, and the judge before she speaks with measured certainty. "I saw enough to know this document is real." Shock erupts. Kody pounds the table in disbelief. Robin wails. The judge bangs her gavel, but the chaos cannot be contained. Christine closes her eyes briefly, savoring a silent victory, while Janelle grips the witness stand, preparing for the storm her words have unleashed. But the real shock is yet to come. The next witness will push the courtroom into uncharted territory. The courtroom buzzes like a live wire, gasps and whispers bouncing off every wall. Kody is a tempest, face red, veins standing out, fists clenching, the table as if he could physically crush the truth. Robin clings to him, urging restraint, but he shakes her off, pride and fury intertwined. The judge commands order again, and slowly, silence descends, though tension still crackles like electricity. Christine's attorney steps forward, addressing Janelle. "Mrs. Brown, you've lived with Mr. Brown for decades. You've shared faith, family, life. Why are you certain this license is valid?" Janelle exhales, glances at Christine for a split second, then returns her gaze to the jury. "I was there when he lied about it," she says firmly. Years ago, before Christine left, Kody returned late one evening, agitated, avoiding eye contact. "I discovered a folder in his car containing legal documents, a license bearing his name and another woman's." Shock courses through the room. Christine gasps. Robin sobs quietly. Kody pounds his fists, muttering, "Lies, manipulation. You're trying to ruin me." The courtroom erupts, voices overlapping. The judge glares, warning Kody of removal if he persists. Through clenched teeth, he mutters compliance, while Robin weeps silently by his side. Janelle concludes her testimony, standing shakily, but with her head held high, passing Kody without a glance. She sits next to Christine, shoulders nearly touching, a silent gesture of solidarity. Christine offers a faint smile of thanks. The judge calls the next witness, Elaine Porter, county clerk. She strides confidently to the stand, folder in hand, hair tight, demeanor professional. Sworn in, she confirms her identity as clerk for 18 years and examines the license. "Yes, this is a certified marriage license recorded in our office," she states, voice crisp. Gasps ripple across the courtroom. Christine tightens her fists, whispering a prayer. Robin hides her face. Kody shakes his head, muttering denial. Hensley presses on, asking whose names are signed. The clerk replies, "Kody Brown and Celeste Harper." The room freezes. Christine's eyes widen. Janelle's jaw drops. Even Mary raises her head, eyes narrowing. Kody sits frozen, fists clenched, jaw tight. Robin screams, gripping him. "You said she was dead." But Kody remains silent, face wooden, as the courtroom hums with shock and reporters furiously note every detail. The secret name has emerged, and the tension has reached a
as like a very present dad, with his children. So
the courtroom felt like it had contracted into a single suffocating heartbeat. Every eye was fixed on Kody Brown, yet no one could take their gaze off Celeste Harper as she stood, a pillar of quiet fury and grief, her tears catching the overhead lights like molten silver. Christine could hardly breathe, as though each inhalation threatened to shatter the fragile balance of this revelation. Kody, the man whose words had always held sway over the women in this fractured family, now sat unmoored, a storm cloud of anger and desperation shadowing his features. Robin clutched his arm, nails digging into flesh as if physical pain could tether him to control. But there was none left to grasp. Each second stretched like an eternity as Celeste recounted the years of betrayal, each syllable hammering into the walls of the courtroom like iron striking stone. Christine's fingers dug into the edge of the table. She could feel her own pulse in the tremor of the wood beneath her palms. Janelle's eyes, usually so composed, shimmered with the weight of what had come to light. Mary, silent as ever, shifted uneasily in her seat, the faintest whisper of horror tracing across her face. And above them, the judge presided, stern, but visibly shaken, the gavel striking down in vain attempts to restore order to a room teetering on chaos. Kody's defense attorney, Wexler, moved with the meticulous precision of a predator circling prey, his voice calm but slicing. "Dr. Knox," he began, turning sharply toward the witness stand, "are you compensated for your testimony today?" The question hung in the air, small but loaded, like a dagger poised to pierce. Dr. Knox hesitated, and in that brief pause, the courtroom collectively held its breath. $10,000, she finally admitted, each word a small explosion, setting off murmurs that rippled like waves through the packed room. Christine's stomach knotted. This was the seed of doubt, carefully planted to erode Celeste's credibility, to make the jury question the validity of her decade-long silence. But Christine's gaze did not waver. She could see the tremor behind Celeste's eyes, but she also saw resolve, a fire that no fabricated doubt could extinguish. The following moments stretched thin, taut with tension. Celeste retrieved the envelope she had kept hidden for years, its edges worn and corners creased, containing the single photograph that could unravel Kody Brown entirely. Christine felt her heart seize as the image was revealed. A younger Kody, tender and unguarded, cradling a newborn swathed in pink. The child, their child, stared from the photograph with innocent eyes, unaware of the web spun around her by a father who had hidden her from the world. The room seemed to exhale as the jurors leaned forward, taking in every detail, every whispered truth embedded in the photo. Kody's mask cracked, his lips parted, his face paling as the reality of his own actions reflected back at him in black and white. Clarity. Robin's sobs hit a new crescendo, each one echoing off the walls, a haunting counterpoint to the courtroom's rigid formality. Christine caught the subtle exchange between Celeste and Hannah, her daughter, as they shared a glance of unspoken understanding. Here, Christine realized, was the unassailable core of truth. A child who carried the legacy of deception, but also the promise of exposure. Kody's fury, once a roaring tide, now sloshed impotently against the rocks of undeniable evidence. Robin, desperate to salvage what remained of her narrative, whispered reassurances, but the weight of revelation had already tilted the scales. Celeste, though trembling, held her ground. Her voice, when it rang out again, was sharp, unwavering, cutting through the residual whispers of disbelief. "I will not live in his lies anymore. My daughter will not live in them either." The following day, the courtroom transformed into a crucible. Reporters jostled for position, cameras clicked incessantly, and every spectator felt the charge in the air, a tangible energy as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Christine's focus, however, was singular: ensure that Celeste and Hannah could stand unassailed before the jury. She knew the stakes, not only the legacy of lies, but the very futures of the women and children Kody had sought to control. Each witness, each declaration, built toward an inevitable apex, and Christine felt it with every fiber of her being. She leaned forward, absorbing the subtleties of Robin's trembling composure, the taut line of Kody's jaw, the quiet observation in Mary's unyielding gaze. This was not merely a courtroom, it was the stage for reckoning, and every player had been cast in roles written long before they ever stepped through the courthouse doors.